but they're both together anyway, so just bear that in mind. And then if you look at the OneNote, there's one where I've put two together and I've highlighted it in yellow.
Right.
Happy days. As much pointing out as possible for me today.
Yeah, same.
I think this might be the first pod I won't be having a beer. So that's so you know when I'm
we're all not having a drink because I'm up at 4 a.m. So
I'm on Diet Coke.
I'm on ginger ale. Looks like I'm drinking, but I'm not.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a weekend this weekend. On Saturday.
Save it for the rolling start, Tony.
Yeah, we're on the rolling start, mate.
Are we? Oh, God. My brain's obviously been addled by a very boozy Thursday and Friday. But I've been very good since then.
Yeah, I've had a nightmare. Driving home from this mob I've been working on up in Blythe, I drove down through the toll in Newcastle. They've got rid of the tolls that you pay at. You've got to pay online.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm getting back. I want to get back, get ready for the weekend, going away to Butlins. So and Leicester were playing as well at the same time as I was driving back. Got down there. I've completely forgot about paying the toll. You have 24 hours to pay it. That's a bit tight. Sat in Butlins last night thinking, oh, what time do I need to set off on Tuesday morning? I'm thinking, oh, for God's sake, I ain't paid the toll. Oh, no. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I've gone online and looked and I'm going, I'm going to have to pay 100 quid here, 100 quid fine. So I've gone online and found the thing. It says 30 quid fine for within 28 days if you pay it within 28 days. So it's not too bad, but it's still
30 quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't get me started on tolls. They're bringing a congestion charge thing into Bristol, and I can't get to work without paying £9 a day. It's ridiculous.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking. It's just another stealth tax.
It is. It is a stealth tax. There's no other reason for it.
Do you know what?
I'll try to protect the environment, are they?
Do you know what? It's annoying though. The one in Newcastle, it's only £1.90. So like, it's nothing. And then they've gone and took the tolls away because they want you to pay online. So then more people are going to forget.
And that's the reason. And then they find you. You get more money that way.
24-hour deadline's a bit harsh, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, so that's just another money maker, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, definitely.
How was Skeggy then, Ben?
Yeah, good. Didn't really venture outside of Butlins. Just, but by the time we got there, they didn't let you book in till 5. So
right,
it's like you lost one day.
Yeah,
wow.
And then we went about on the Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday was good. And obviously, I was thinking about coming back on a Sunday, so it's a bit rushed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only just got back really, and then I've got to go back up to Blythe in the morning, so it's a nightmare.
That's an early start, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, 4 o'clock I got to leave.
Oh God!
I've got a packed bag yet. I've just unpacked and I'm going to unpack again, pack it back up again.
Jesus.
Yeah. And you're working on the ship again next week, then?
Yeah. So that's dedication for you lads. Still doing the pod.
It is. I had a nail go right through my foot on Saturday.
Yeah.
Stood on a pissing nail right through my foot.
Oh crap!
I had to pull a plank of wood out. Mrs. is upstairs singing. Couldn't hear me shouting for her. Like little girl runs down. What's up, Dad? I got a nail in the foot. And then she just runs off crying. I said, no, go get your mum. And she's just screaming the house down. Like, what's up with her? So, yeah, I've been limping the last couple of days.
Have you had your tetanus, Tony?
No, I haven't. No. Everyone was saying that. I had a big bash yesterday outside. There were about 20 people around here. Christening my new bar.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously the first time it's been used. So weather were all right. I don't remember much. Of the evening. I think I fell asleep outside at one point. But yeah, all good. I'm still here. My foot's healed. It's a bit better today.
Were you on the top shelf then?
I had a few tequilas. Someone brought some tequila around. I had a few tequilas. That's probably what killed me off.
Dangerous stuff. That I was on that on Friday.
Yeah. I don't feel great for it this morning, but I've got through the day anyway.
How do you put now then?
It's all right. My limp's got away. It's tender, but I've kept it clean and, like I say, hopefully the nail wasn't too rusty. It looked quite shiny actually. I don't know whether that's whether the rust just got cleaned off inside my foot. I'm not too sure.
I've done that. I've stood on a nail as well when I was a kid. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was a sore one.
It went through my shoe.
Yeah. Straight through about 3 inch of it. About 3 inch it was. I had to rip it off the bottom of my shoe. Go all the way through to it. And it was only like an hour earlier. I'd made a decision to wear my trainers to do DIY rather than I had my work boots, my old work boots, and they've got a plated bottom of them in your work boots to stop nails going through. So, well, live and learn, don't you? Right, here we go. Let's get going with episode 66 of the Dream Team Tonic podcast on this bank holiday Monday evening. I'm Tony. With me as usual, Ben and James. Good to have you both here. We've all survived the bank holiday weekend. Some rougher than others. Let's jump into our teams. Let's see how it's gone. So you were down in Skeggy. Ben, how did your team get on while she was away?
Well, I was looking at my team on Saturday evening and I was thinking, what the fuck? -5 I was on before Chelsea played.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, 22 points in the end so far this week. 2,256 points. Now I am 230th. So it's not too bad. Still keep going up, even with this bad week. Mendy in goal, 8 points. Rudiger, 8 points. Robertson, 1 point for an assist. Cancelo, -2. Alexander-Arnold, -1. Mount, 8 for another goal. De Bruyne didn't play, but I saw him on the bench, so I thought I'll just leave him. Because he'll probably come on or he'll play midweek or something. It looks like he's all right. But they didn't risk him, did they? So it's a bit interesting. Played a weakened side as well, didn't he? Sterling 0, Salah 0, Kane 0, Jota 0. Nothing great. Still got 4 transfers left.
4 transfers left?
Yeah.
We're over halfway through the month now.
Yeah.
What have we got left? 5 games. About 5 games left at the month before transfers for some teams. What's your plans with them?
I'm waiting to see, like, how the first legs go. You know, in the Champions League, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do after that. Yeah, unless I've got injuries, I'm not jumping on anything. They're doing well. That team's doing well in mini leagues as well, so I don't want to ruin my team by doing those transfers. I've got a good team there, so I'm happy with it. Sit tight.
Yeah. Lovely team. Well then, James, over to yours, mate.
Yeah, 24 points this week. 5 transfers left. I haven't touched this team. I wish I hadn't touched my other teams, to be fair with you, because they're all doing horrifically, and they have been for the last couple of weeks now. I don't know. I might. My Patreon Cup team is on about -2 at the moment.
Really?
That's not safe. But this one's got 24. Mendy and goal, 8 points. Alexander-Arnold, -1. Cancelo, -2. Reece James, 8. Bernardo Silva, 8. KDB didn't play. Diaz, 3. Sterling didn't play. And no points up front from Kane, Salah and Jota. Annoyingly, since I've dropped Mason Mount in most of my other teams that are doing a lot better, he's channeled his inner Messi, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He has. He's turned into a superstar. I think it's when you sent that WhatsApp to us. It was so along the lines of Mason Mount's shit. It was something like that.
I am seriously regretting that WhatsApp.
I just passed it on to him. I said, "Yeah, you want a bit of motivation, Mason lad?" Yeah, he's been he's been pretty good since then, hasn't he?
He has. He's scored. I think he's scored in the last 3 games on the trot, hasn't he? I think that's the first time he's done it. Yeah, bloody typical.
It always happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At times we go through that in the season. How many transfers left in that side then, James? 5, you say?
5 transfers. I think I'm going to do the same as Ben and just see how the first legs of the semi-finals go, and then I'll just jump on. Well, they might both go through. There's a good chance of that, I think. I will need to get rid of some of those Chelsea players at some point, but I've done that in my other teams, and that's backfired. So I'm going to hold. Well, we can talk about Chelsea later because there's some questions about that anyway.
Yeah. Right, over to my side. 21 points for the week. Edison did not play. Walker injured, which looks quite a nasty injury that for Walker. Went over on his ankle, didn't he? Doesn't look good. Silva came on for a nice 5 points. Cheeky clean sheet. Rudiger, 8 points. Cancelo -2. De Bruyne did not play. I don't even think he was fit enough, was he? I think he was just named on the bench. I don't think he was ever going on the pitch. Bernardo Silva grabbed himself a goal, 8 points. Diaz, 3 points. And Salah came both with 0, and Kai Havertz with a -1.
He should have got 10 points for that dive.
Oh, what a joke that was.
At least he got -1 for it.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
deserved -1.
It's about time someone got booked for diving. They haven't been doing it really, have they?
I know. They point out like, no, they played the ball or you made a meal of it, and then they don't really do it about it, do they? Even though they try to con the referee. 3 transfers left in this team for me. Sensible decisions. Just to wait to see what's happening in the Champions League and the Europa League with West Ham and the European St Johnston's European Johnston's Paint Trophy.
The no ratings paint trophy.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating that because some good options for Leicester as well.
Yeah,
amount of games they've got, but best team is currently I think it's about 260th. Which hasn't. It's done all right. 258th best side. So this one's sat about 20,000 per put team. So way off the mark, way off. But yeah, that's the team. That's sorted. Now we've got lots of questions this week. Business end at season. A lot of people wanting quite a bit of advice. I've got lots of sheets of paper with lots of writing on everywhere. So I might lose myself amongst all this during these questions. But let's have a do. One more Statham has been on the Patreon. Asked a question on the Patreon. What changes would you like to see the Sun make to the game next season? Personally, I'd like to see them revert back to 3 players from one club to make it more interesting. Everyone seems to end up with the same players in Liverpool, City, and Chelsea currently. It takes a bit of the skill out of it, in my opinion. Also, a revamp of the rating system, or at least an explanation of how the algorithm they use actually works. James, what do you reckon, mate?
Well, I would say we have covered, this is ground we've covered before. I've suggested before that I think we should limiting the number of players from European teams rather than 3 from one team might be the way to go. So if you could only select 5 or 6 players from players playing in Europe. So you could put all 5 or 6 Liverpool players in if you wanted to, but you wouldn't then be able to have any Man City. I think that might be that might add more nuance to the game with tactics and things like that than just saying no more than 3 from each side. That's the only thing I can think of that might it might be an improvement, but it might not. We might all end up with the same 5 or 6 players. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I personally would like them to sort out the ratings for the Europa Paint Trophy. That's the change I'd like to see next season. So everything's covered then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a mini league where we play with 3 players from each team, and it's
Yeah.
been quite difficult this year to play that way. I don't like it, to tell you the truth, but obviously I've been in this mini league for years, so they changed the rules this year to try and make it harder for everyone in the mini league. So yeah, it's quite challenging to like move across to say another player you want. So you might have to do 2 transfers to get a player in from another club because you've got to take, if you've got 3 from Chelsea and you want maybe the formation you're in, you want to get to a striker or something, you have to like sell 2 players to get there. It's quite difficult. Yeah, I wouldn't like to see that. If you want to play 3-player game, play FPL.
Yeah. I think we have, like James said, we have touched it a bit before. I think we come to the consensus that even if you did the 3-player rule, I think you would actually probably end up with it more template because everyone you wouldn't take as many risks in the team. So you say Liverpool, I want Trent, Salah, and I don't know, Alisson or Robertson, right? And then you go City, I need De Bruyne, I need Cancelo, and then you've probably got one other.
Yeah.
So everyone would have like the same few. There'd probably only be 1 or 2 different. I think it might make it more template. I think the only way I was racking my brains of how you can get people to have, without changing too much any of the rules out, have people to choose from a different pool of players is by pricing the premium players at City and Liverpool and Chelsea and that so high that if you were to have, so you can have Salah and De Bruyne, but then that's gonna put such a hole in your budget that you're gonna have to start picking players from Southampton and from other teams because you're gonna have to have 2 or 3 enablers just to enable you to have say 2 or 3 big hitters. That's the only way to do it. Unless you price it like that, you're always gonna have people putting the top players in. In FPL, you can't afford to have Salah, De Bruyne, Kane, Ronaldo.
Yeah, you can only have about
in this game. You can
3 at a push, maybe.
Yeah, you're pushing it there, then you're having to trim back and probably put a few 4.5 mil players in to fill your team out. So if they wanted to do it, I think that's the only way, really, without ripping up like the rules and stuff. I don't really want it to do that. I like the game. Yeah, that's my 10 pence worth about that. Yeah, and they need to sort. I think sorting the pricing, do the price rises. I want to know what the algorithm is for that, so we can follow it and watch it.
It seems to change during the season.
Yeah, I tried tracking it a little bit, and it just doesn't seem to have a pattern. Not one that I can find anywhere.
Well, maybe there is no algorithm.
Yeah,
guys,
I think it's just someone else doing it.
If it's a human doing it,
yeah,
you won't be able to pick the pattern because it's down to the vagaries of that person. So
yeah, definitely.
Lots of people have tried. Lots of people have failed.
Yeah,
it may be that there is no algorithm. It's just the intern that runs the game. No, he did all right. I can't be asked to look at the first set of games. We'll just look at the last set, and he did all right. We'll bung him up 0.3.
Yeah. There's like Kane scored a hat trick on the weekend, for example, and then on the midweek he got a -1 for a yellow card. He went down in price. There's stuff like
It's
that
crazy. It's definitely on that second game. I think we've established that, haven't we?
Yeah, at the moment.
It seems to be. Yeah, until it changes again.
Yeah, I think it was like at one point during the season it was just the game week score, and then before that it was like last 5 games or last 3 games, and now it's like the last game of each week. At the moment, it seems.
Yeah. Right, moving on from that, porn and poker. I think really I should have said that in the same one. There you are. There's my hangover. Following on from Walmart, do any of you guys have any ideas how to make non-European players more attractive to Dream Team? Have we anything more to add than what I've put
Well,
about pricing the premium players that high that you have to be forced to pick non-European players?
well, if you read out Andy Barnett's message, I think that could have some merit. So that's all I would say is if you read Andy Barnett
Yeah.
replied to this, and I think that's an interesting concept, and perhaps we could talk about that one.
Yeah, what would be more interesting would be increasing the points you get for Premier League games, something like giving each player 2 points for playing the full Premier League game. This would make players like Mahrez and James less attractive, and players like Souček and Ward-Prowse, who obviously play the full games more often than not, more attractive. Yeah, good shout, Andy. You reckon then, James?
Well, that's what Fan Team have done this year, isn't it? If you play the full 90, you get extra points. Yeah, it's interesting. I think if I was running a fantasy football game, you'd get a mathematician involved, wouldn't you? And you'd work out how that would adjust the player scores from the last season.
Yeah.
And if I was doing it, I'd play around with a few things just to see how it might even things out a little bit, and that could be one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no more to say than that, really.
Yeah. Ben?
No, just like what you said, maybe the European teams price them a bit more, and the teams that are not in Europe lower down. But obviously, as the season goes on, the prices are going to go up and down anyway on performances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe you've just got to pay a premium for anybody playing in Europe. Yeah, I like that about the 90 minutes though. Could be an option.
What happens when they go out of Europe, though? Do you then have to slash the prices?
Well,
Imagine getting Spurs players in, and then they get COVID and can't fulfil the fixture. You'd be quite unhappy about that, wouldn't you?
fuming. Yeah. Next up, David 87. I'm now only top of my mini league by 34 points. The guy in second has made up 50 points in just a couple of weeks. He's got 2 transfers left with 0 in the bank, and he has 0 transfers. Sorry, lost that again. There's my hangover kicking in again. He has clearly taken a punt and got lucky with Firmino and Mane, both bagging braces, and some of my big hitters, i.e. Kane and Mahrez, doing nothing the past couple of weeks. I have to say I'm panicking a bit at this stage, particularly with the number of Liverpool players he's now holding. What would your tactic be now to fend him off for the remainder of the month and season? Right, James. There's his 2 teams.
Yep.
There's his team and his rival's team.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing there, mate?
Well, first of all, I would, David, your team's much better than your rivals. He's just been a bit lucky. Firmino getting a load of points recently I think, is probably not sustainable. He's less likely to. I think he'll get less minutes than Jota and Mane, for instance. I do think Mane's done a lot better than I thought he would, but Klopp seems to be playing him in the number 9 role now that we've got Diaz to come in on the left, which is, I didn't think that would persist, but it seems to be. He played it. He did it against Man City, so you've got to feel that he thinks that's a decent shout. Although Mane does have a good record against City, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But yeah, your rival's got Ben Rama in and Firmino, and your team doesn't have any major holes in it, really. I wouldn't panic. You've just been a bit unlucky because Firmino's done something. You might want to. You could switch Havertz to Mane to cover. Only problem there is annoyingly you're 0.1 short of doing that because you've got nothing in the bank, I think. So no need to panic, mate. Any team with Ben Rama in it, you're always gonna, unless Ben Rama goes on another stint like he did earlier in the season, which doesn't seem likely. No need to panic.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, I wouldn't panic too much. You've got a much better side. I'm I would probably, if you wanted to cover Mane, Mane's the one that's probably the worry.
Yeah.
With Kane not having so many fixtures at the moment, and obviously your rival doesn't have Kane, I would probably do Kane to Mane. But the other players, obviously Lee's got a Liverpool block, but you've got a couple of City players in there. So, yeah, I think you're all right there. You could just do the Kane move and then obviously move Kane back in when you can, because he hasn't got Kane. So if you're leading, you don't need to cover Kane. You know what I mean?
Good shout, Ben. That
Yeah. I've got. He's got no transfers left, has he? So
Yeah,
I've got the Kane to Mane or Jota. Obviously, you want to cover Mane rather than take the risk of going across to Jota and being a bit different. But Mane does seem to be getting some points at the minute. And if you wanted to nullify the threat of his four at the back of the Liverpool, maybe Havertz.
yeah,
Havertz. If you did the Kane to Mane move, it'd give you the money from Havertz to Van Dijk,
yeah.
possibly.
Yeah,
So,
good point.
and it would mean that if Liverpool do keep a clean sheet, you're only one player less, so you're only losing say 5 or 8
Yeah,
points
and it's only
for that clean
Alisson. Yeah,
sheet. Yeah, and then I just let you midfield go and win league. You know, I mean,
yeah,
De Bruyne, Mahrez, Sterling up against Benrahma. Oh no, sorry, you got Mahrez and Sterling different to him, haven't you?
yeah,
And he's got Benrahma. I mean, I fancy, I fancy them two all day long against that.
yeah.
I think that cover most of the bases there. I wouldn't see you losing 34 points. I'd see you gaining more points and running away with it. Then
yeah.
that'd be my
I
idea.
like that.
Yeah, not to worry about, David. Be fine, mate. You're in a nice position with them two transfers.
Yeah,
Because with Kane, it's be a 4-for-2, won't
Yeah.
it? If you take Kane out for one of the Liverpool lads, got to be done that. Like I say, especially when you're not trying to cover Kane,
Yeah.
you're not now to worry about.
and try and
Trying
keep
that.
your last 5 transfers back next month. See
Yeah.
what he does.
Yeah, keep an eye on his team and then block him off.
Getting to
That's
that point
it.
of the season, isn't it?
Get the Mourinho coach out. You're right. Right, DT Patrick. Who do you think will cause the most problems for Man City and Liverpool with their games versus Madrid and Villarreal, respectively? Ben, who do you reckon, mate?
Well, I think on paper you'd say Real Madrid are going to be the best team out of Villarreal and Madrid. Villarreal are no mugs though. They've knocked Juventus out and Bayern Munich, so nothing to be like. They could go and pull a result at Liverpool, but yeah, Madrid look like they're on a bit of a crest of a wave at the moment as well. So yeah, I'd say Madrid.
Playing some nice stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, James, obviously being a Liverpool fan.
Well, I think Real have got some world class talent in their side, and I think they could cause Man City some problems if Benzema's firing like he was against Chelsea, especially in that first leg. He was unplayable.
Yeah.
And he popped up at the end with that winner, didn't he? So in the second leg, with the likes of Modric and Cruz and all those stars they've got in there, when they put it together, and they've got a good manager in Ancelotti, a wily manager who's been around the block. I think he's probably managed more Champions League fixtures than anybody. I would go Real, but Villarreal, Unai Emery is his record in Europe is immense.
good evening.
He's done it with Sevilla. In fact, they knocked Liverpool. They beat Liverpool in the final. I think it was of the
Europa League. Yeah,
when just after Klopp came in, and I think we cruised the first half, and all of a sudden we were just shocked. They managed to. I couldn't believe we lost that game, but they managed to do it somehow. And Unai Emery's record is unrivaled actually. And if you look at his European record. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't. They are dark horses, and I wouldn't write them off. So I think they could cause us some trouble.
Are you worried
Hopefully
about
they
them?
won't. Yeah, I don't. Well, any side that gets to the semi-final of the Champions League is going to be half decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like you said, Ben, earlier. They've knocked out some heavyweight sides to get to where they've got to. So yeah, they shouldn't be discounted. If we take them lightly, they'll beat us. We need to take this game seriously.
Yeah. Obviously, knocking Juventus out for me wasn't too big of a deal. But then, obviously, getting the scalp of Bayern was massive. Obviously, we free scoring Bayern. I think it shows they're very good at the back. Villarreal. I think they conceded 31 games in 31 goals in 32 league games so far, but they've only scored 51.
Mm,
And the top scorer, Gerard Moreno, has only
mm,
got 9 league goals.
right.
So I don't think they're going to cause Liverpool much problems going forward. But if they can nick a goal and be able to sit back on something, then they could prove tricky. I think Liverpool will dispatch them comfortably though. I think the tricky tie is definitely the Real one for City.
Yeah.
But I do think we'll be watching a City and Liverpool European final. That's my guess.
Well,
I think the Premier League is the best league in the world. I don't think we should be scared of these Spanish teams.
what a season with playing. We're just playing Man City in all the key games. It seems.
It is. It's just a Liverpool and City like a assault in it on all the big games, the trophies and that. But yeah,
It's like
great, another good game.
it's like you're pushing each other to be better each year, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, and I love how when they're playing each other, they're just going for it. For too long, we've been ruined by games that like they built up, aren't they? Like these big games over years, and then they turn up and they park it bus and playing for a draw and this over. It's just good to see two top draw teams go at it. Yeah, good to see. Right, Connor, what do we do with Mahrez? Becoming another nuisance. Ever since I put him in my team, he's earned me 7 points, and that was 2 months ago. If that isn't bad luck, I don't know what is. A dewy stick or a twist. Cheers, lads. Go on then, Ben. What do we do with Mahrez?
Well, and he's one of the top scoring midfielders in the game. I know he hasn't had a good run in the last 2 months, but 22 goals this season, 7 assists,
Yeah,
4 of those were braces, 4-star mans. Like, the only person I can see in midfield to move to if you haven't got him is Kevin De Bruyne, and then in defence is Trent or Cancelo. They're the only players I'd probably sell him for. He's always involved, even if he doesn't start. He usually comes off the bench and could be very dangerous from free kicks, and he's on penalties as well when he's on the pitch. So he could just go off. He could go off next week and bang a couple of goals in, 3 goals in a week.
yeah,
It's up to you, but yeah, you could sell him and or you could sell him and a couple of players and then rejig your team and make it stronger. Bringing in a Sterling and then like a better defender and a better goalkeeper or something like that. But yeah,
yeah.
that's my opinion.
Yeah, James.
yeah, I mean, obviously, City have had some tough fixtures recently with playing Liverpool, etc. So, I said at the start. Said to myself at the start of the season, just get Mahrez in and just leave him in there because the season before that and probably the one before that, you take him out and then he hauls, and it happens every year.
Yeah,
And last season I took him out, even though I had him in. I think for some reason I took him out because I think he missed a fixture or something, or there was a game cancelled. I wanted to load up on players with more fixtures, and it just burnt me.
yeah.
So I'm just going to keep him in, and just hold him because he's the ultimate dream team troll.
Yeah,
He is. He's not scored since the game against Southampton on 20th of March. It's nearly a month.
Yeah.
His last 5 games, he's played 8 minutes. Then he played the whole 90, 16 minutes, 67 minutes, and he didn't even get off bench. I think against Burnley. Yes, he's not getting the most minutes. I fully expected him to start at the weekend.
Yeah.
Whether there's something there, has he got a niggle? I don't know.
Hey,
So I thought with De Bruyne out, I thought Mahrez would start.
yeah, I did as well.
Yeah.
If that was an FPL game at the weekend, he would have got an assist for that second goal for Man City. You know what I mean? But in Dream Team, because it deflected
Yeah.
off the defender, it didn't get the assist.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's one of them. You just get burned by him, take him out. I'd been leaving him unless you need them funds elsewhere to maybe bolster up one of your enablers or something. Yeah, there you are,
I
Connor.
remember last season he tore PSG apart in the semi-finals. I think a few people took him out. I think Fergie said he took him out because of fixtures or something, and he ended up not luckily, but he luckily didn't hurt him too badly in the end, and he still won the Dream Team.
It could be one of them. If he does play against Real Madrid, I think he'll have quite a bit of space. Obviously, he'll love to attack. Could be some game, that.
Yeah.
Could be a good game. Right. Mav. Hi, lads. I'm unsure how to manage my Chelsea assets. I have an 84-point lead. He's got 0.1 million with 2 transfers left in the bank. My opponent's got 4 transfers. Any help would be greatly appreciated. And Martin Beasley has also asked, time to dump the Chelsea players now they're out of the Champions League. So I thought we'd tie all this in. So first off, we'll have a look at Mav's team, put it up on screen, and his opponent. I'll have a read through it as well. His team is Edison, Robertson, Rudiger, James, Alexander-Arnold, Mount, Mahrez, Foden, Havertz, Jota, and Salah. His opponent's team, but the guy who's chasing him in the league, is Edison, Cancelo, Trent, and Robertson, De Bruyne, Foden, Maddison, Bilver, Harry Kane, Mane, and Salah. What do you reckon, James?
Well, I think the Chelsea players probably need to go by the 30th of April. Whether you do it this week or next week, which is the fixtures on the 30th, is up to you. They only have a single game week on the week commencing the 30th of April, so that would be the time I would be tempted to get rid of them, if not before. The fixtures are mixed for all the sides that have got 2 fixtures that you'd want to look at. So there's no obvious, they've got easy ones, they've got hard ones. Let's switch to Liverpool or City.
Yeah.
But I would say do it by the 30th. Or if you didn't do that, of course, then you could see who had gone through in the Champions League semi-finals. But you might have a good idea of that by then. Would you have an idea of that by then, I think? Because you'd seen the first leg, wouldn't you? Yeah. So wait for a bit more information on what you actually do. But I would probably do it before the 30th, before that single game week. And the moves you actually make will depend on, the outcome of the Champions League fixtures, I think, or that first leg. See how that goes.
Yeah, it's a nice healthy lead he's got.
Yeah.
Go on, Ben. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, well, like you said, I wouldn't be taking them out yet. They've got a double game week next week. West Ham, Man United. Then they've got a nice fixture against Everton, which is a single. But then you go into May and they've got double game weeks all the way through May because of the games they're catching up on. So it's one of them. Like Man City, well, they've got a game to be rearranged somewhere yet, haven't they? The Wolves game. That's got to be put in there. So it'd probably be either on the 10th or the 17th, around that time in midweek. So yeah. Then Chelsea will have one extra game in May. But apart from the Champions League final, which is on at the end at the 28th. So yeah, it's evens really for fixtures. Yeah. Chelsea's got nice fixtures. Yeah, definitely hold off for another week. I would then look at it. There might be some bad injuries come up in the meantime.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't know where we'll be after another week of a double game week as well. Obviously, we've still got games to go this midweek before we even get to the weekend.
Yep.
84-point lead. It's nice. Obviously, his opponent's he's got 4 transfers, so you don't really know what he's up against yet for the rest of the month, to be honest. So it's one of them we wouldn't recommend too many moves. But if he was to make any moves away from the Chelsea lot, as James says, not this weekend, because obviously Chelsea got the double, but the weekend after, obviously, you got like the likes of City, you got the double, Liverpool, and Chelsea only have the singles. So if he was going to jump away, maybe, I don't know, a move like Rudiger to Sterling or something of that ilk to maximise a few more games, maybe. Obviously, it's a bit unfortunate that Cancelo's way out of reach now. Was he about 7.9 million?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So if you don't have Cancelo now, you're not really getting to him weakening somewhere else. So yeah, you have a few options, Mav. I don't think there's any reason to panic.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you sell Mahrez and then sell Rudiger,
Yeah.
Sterling and Cancelo in, something like that.
I mean, even there, so if you went Mahrez at 6.8 million to Sterling, I think he's 4.8. You give him 2 million. Did he say he's got out in the bank? 0.1. You wouldn't even then be able to go like Reece James to Cancelo. He'd still be 0.1 off.
Well, you might get a bit of how do you say it? The price rises will change.
Yeah, that's going to change. Then James and Mahrez to Cancelo and Sterling. I don't know. He's struggling for Cancelo anyway.
And you got KDB if he's back. You probably want him, so it's tricky.
Yeah.
If Mahrez don't start again, then you could probably get KDB if he's back. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, you'd want KDB, wouldn't you? Want to monitor. Yep. But yeah, as the Chelsea assets go,
transfers are pretty.
Like you said, Ben, you don't really run away from Chelsea yet, do we? They've done all right.
Yeah.
They've been the differential, haven't they? Obviously, I think it's just helped. Obviously, City, Liverpool playing each other twice. That's what's been the bit of a game changer there. It's allowed the teams with a bit of Chelsea in them just to make up that bit of ground.
Yeah.
It's one where obviously City and Liverpool are going to have the most fixtures now with the Champions League. But yeah, Chelsea got some nice fixtures. It's not somewhere to run away from. Mav again, is Werner a realistic option? He's obviously had a bit of a spring in his step recently, Werner, and he's put in some really good performances. But he isn't for me. Not yet. Maybe next season if he starts to get some solid game time week in, week out. But you could put him in and he'd just be straight back on bench. It'll happen. What do you reckon, James?
For me, no.
No.
He does seem to be getting more game time. 38 points in the last 3 games is certainly a decent haul. I personally think there's better options. But if you are on a budget, 3.3 million for a striker he's a decent differential. So if you're chasing, it could be a good pick. Because there's not many options up front. Not a huge amount. And if you're tight for budget, then 3.3 for that differential could pay off. Bit of a gamble though. He hasn't. Will he continue this run, or has he just been a bit fortunate? Who knows? But yeah, tricky one that.
Yeah, Werner.
I agree with you. If you're at top of your league, you won't be bringing Timo in. But if you're chasing and you want something a bit different, it looks like he's in favour at the minute.
Yeah.
He has been playing blinding at the moment. I don't know what's happened to him. He's on drugs or something. Yeah, 18 points, 5 points, and a 15-pointer as well against Real Madrid. 2-star man, 3 goals, 2 assists, averaging 7.6 over the last 5 and 12.7 over the last 3. So yeah,
Not bad, is it?
have a look at your team. If you're chasing, you fancy a dabble. I wouldn't mind it if you're chasing, definitely, but not if you're at the top. Not time for doing that at the top.
Doing it against the big sides as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Nice returns against Real Madrid. He's not like Ronaldo. He just gets his returns against the minnows. Stat padding.
Yeah, maybe Adrian Mutu has come back to Chelsea and
Mark Bosnich.
and doped him somehow.
Yeah, that's it. What's going on in that dressing room?
He could have had about 5 against Southampton the other week.
Right, so it's a decent option if you're struggling for funds and you're doing a bit of chasing, need something a little bit different. Why not? Why not have a punt on him? We were for punts in the Costa League with the 3-player rule.
Yeah.
You only play it month to month, don't you, really? So, right. Fitzy. I'm not going to lie, Fitzy, this confused the heart me, this question. I still don't know if I'm going to read it properly. Thoughts on which teams to stick with or target that don't have as many fixtures now, and what positions of players? Mainly looking for answers, anyone but City and Liverpool. Now, James translated it for me. That you're after some options from teams other than City and Liverpool, who to either stick with or target that might not have as many fixtures, obviously, as the big two, and any players from those teams. So, James, I'll let you go first, man, and then we'll follow on from you.
Well, I'm now wondering whether I translated it wrong because I didn't read the City and Liverpool bit. So I've looked at teams that that you wouldn't normally consider because they're not in Europe.
Yeah.
And don't have as many fixtures. So I still think that's interesting to do.
Yeah.
But that my conclusion is that there is only one team I would even consider players from that don't have the fixture volume from Europe, and that would be Spurs. And the 2 players I would highlight as being worthy of the differential status is Kulusevski and Sonny. I looked at Arsenal. They've got decent fixtures to the end of the season, but it's hard to recommend them after 3 straight defeats. I think they're missing Partey and Tierney. The only player that Arsenal have got that's even come close to any decent Dream Team points this year is Saka. And even he seems to have gone off the boil. So if I was just using the criteria of teams without fixture volume, it would only be Spurs that I'd be looking at, and it would only be those 2 players.
Yeah. Ben?
Well, you know me, I'm a fixture volume sort of type of guy, so I wouldn't be looking normally at teams with less fixtures. But I had a little look, and one popped out for me, a team, obviously Spurs are there, but you've covered that. A team popped out for me is Aston Villa and your man Coutinho. He's got Leicester next weekend, then Norwich the weekend after, and then in May he's got double game weeks. So he's got Burnley, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Man City. So 2 hard ones in there, but a few peaches in there. So he's the one that popped up for me. He's quite cheap. I think he was 3.3 or something like that. I need to check that. But yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Like I say, trying to get my head around the question. So I had Spurs fixtures in May. Obviously, they're lacking in fixtures for the remainder of this month. Obviously, as we've discussed, we'll probably discussed a little bit later on about Kane and what to do with his Spurs assets. But we are like Ben says, play the fixtures, maximise the amount of fixtures, especially this end of the season. Like we're so close to end. Like that extra 2 games you might get out of a player could be the difference between winning and losing your mini leagues. So I did pull one out in May. A team that we've got everything to play for. They've got 5 fixtures in May, which is Everton. They've got Leicester, Watford, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Arsenal. Again, I shouldn't really be speaking about Everton assets. They're a bit of a poor team, but they are going to have to be putting everything into these last 5, 6, 7 games that they've got in the league. Massive games. Assets. Who can you recommend from Everton, lads? DCL, Richarlison. He's always got a red card in him, Richarlison.
What's that noise? Oh, it's someone scraping the barrel.
Yeah, literally. Fitzy, what you're probably better off doing there is maximising these fixtures. Obviously, if you're desperate for punts, where I'd even say like you go reverse the other question and go to Werner. I probably prefer a punt like Werner than going to an Everton. Leicester have got 10 fixtures remaining for the rest of the season. I know the Johnston Paint European Trophy doesn't get the ratings it should, but still if they're scoring goals, they get points for it. Maddison at 4.5. Lookman, who has done well last few games, 2.2 million is absolute steal, especially if he plays most of them. And then Dewsbury Hall, who's at 2.7 million. I think he's played 90 minutes and he's started the last 11 games, played 90 minutes in 9 of them. So he's more or less a guaranteed start, which he's not really getting at Leicester at the minute. They've been a bit frustrated with the rotation between the league and the European games. So a few options there. That barrel, it's well and truly been scraped for the last few minutes there. Outside with that one, chaps.
No, good. That's pretty best we could do, really, with looking at the lower teams.
Yeah, Coutinho's a shout in May. I think he's been playing very well. Niles Koopman, interesting question. 3 defenders or 4, and are they traditionally more or less clean sheets at the back end of the season? James.
Well, I don't have any stats to back this up, but I think sides do tend to keep more clean sheets in the second half of the season as the defensive unit is more well drilled. That said, near the right near the end of the season, you're more likely to see some unexpected results as the relegation teams throw caution to the wind and play a formation of 1, 2, 8, throwing everything forwards. And of course there will be teams that you see it every year, they tend to slack off a little bit once they're safe. So I think we're still in that period now where you're likely to see plenty of clean sheets, but in that last 4 or 5 games, you might see that drop off a little bit. But that's only anecdotal evidence. I haven't got any stats to back that up.
Yeah.
I prefer when you answer the question 3 defenders or 4. I'll go back to what I've said before because I think it's good advice. I prefer comparing players. So you look at the player you're going to take out, and you're going to look at the player that you're going to bring in. So if you're going to take Rudiger out, for instance, and you're going to bring in a Bowen, who's going to score more points? Try and think of it in those terms, rather than what formation you're going to play, because it's all about points at the end of the day. So who's going to score the most points? It doesn't matter whether you're playing 3 or 4 at the back. Who's going to get the most points?
Yeah, Ben.
I think you covered it brilliantly there. I think you covered it all, mate.
Yeah, I think I concur with that. I think the last 4 or 5 games, you get teams that are desperate, but they know they have to win. You get must-win games. You get all that sort of stuff. You get the teams that are on the beach because they've nothing to play for. And with that, they usually might blood a few youngsters or a few fringe players, put them in shop window for its summer. So you get some freak results. You get usually like I say, I've no stats to back this up, but just a feeling that I get is towards the end of the season, you're probably going to see more goals either way, like in both nets in these games.
I deliberately didn't use the term on the beach because there's been a black backlash on Twitter recently. People saying, oh, I think it all started with people saying, some guys saying it's lazy journalism, and then other people have cottoned on to that. But it's, I just think, well, that's just the FPL crew, really, isn't it? They like to pick an argument. I still do think it's natural that players, the last 2 or 3 games, you're safe. You are thinking about your holiday, aren't you?
Definitely.
They've got less motivation because
Yeah.
I think it is a thing, and anyone that says that's lazy journalism needs to listen to the rest of what I said a couple of minutes ago because
I think right, your last game at season, and you've got a 3-week break booked in the Maldives for 2 days after last game at season. You're playing a game that means absolutely nothing because both teams are safe with this over. There's a 50-50 comes up. Are you going in with it all blood and thunder, putting your knees and your ankles in there into this challenge, or are you just going to, do you know what? Let's just let the guy have it. I don't want to risk doing my knee ligament or an ankle ligament. I'll have to cancel my holiday.
it's human nature, isn't it? Surely, unless I'm just a lazy person or something.
No, I think they'll self-preservation, innit? They'll do what's necessary, and they'll be thinking about their holiday.
Yeah.
Hence why they're on the beach. That's what I believe, anyway. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. I mean, but I think the motivation levels. Motivation levels in human beings go up and down all the time.
Mm.
If the game means nothing, you're not going to be as motivated. It's just how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. Yeah, and I think you've covered that the 3 or 4 defenders really well, though, James. It's true. Comparison to players, obviously, will Rudiger be able to outscore Bowen with his clean sheets or with his goals or assists, compared to Bowen with just his goals and assists and Starman awards and that? So yeah, just do it as that rather than a formation. Right, like having a look back. Dream Team Professor has asked, who were some of your worst calls of the season? And looking back, what was your worst game week 1 team for players? And he's put a picture of his up, which will be on the screen for people watching on YouTube. For the other listeners on other formats, I'll just have a read through his game week 1 team. It was Alisson in goal, Trent, Cancelo, Harry Maguire, Harvey Barnes, Riyad Mahrez, Buendia and Pepe, Salah, Calvert-Lewin and Jamie Vardy.
It's not
You reckon
that
there?
bad, really. Start the season, Buendia was getting touted up because of all the assists he's getting for Norwich, and
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes had a good season. Harry Maguire did all right last year. Well, he seems to come good at the end of the season. This season he hasn't really come good, has he? But
No.
Pepe was doing well at the end of the season last season, and then they were touting him to come good this year. Calvert-Lewin, he has bits and bobs, doesn't he? When he always gets injured lately, though.
Yeah.
Vardy always seems to start season well. Yeah, I see he's put a clown next to Vardy on there. I've got to pull him up on this because Vardy had a cracking start to the season this year.
Yeah, he did.
Vardy had 7 goals in 8 game weeks this season, and then he faltered. He
did do
he was
well.
right up there with Salah in the goal scoring and Mane. But yeah, then he got injured as well, so obviously he's out again now. So yeah, but yeah, just sticking up for me, mate, Jamie. I've pulled out my team from this pod team first game week of the season, and I've gone Salah, Son up front, no Harry Kane, because I remember now he was on about going to Man City when he spaced up.
Yes, you weren't playing,
Yeah.
were you?
So I had a look into it, and he didn't come back into the team until game week 2, and he came off the bench versus Wolves, and then he played the Europa Conference qualifier versus Passos Ferreira, and he got 2 goals. But then he was crap again until he played somebody else and he scored a hat trick, didn't
Yeah. Yeah, he did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mura, wasn't it?
he? Yeah.
Mura.
Yeah.
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 And I've got Fernandez, obviously from that last season, he was unreal when he start there. Mahrez, like you said, keep him in from the start of the season. Dele Alli was a punt I put in, and Mora because of the early qualifiers for the
Yeah.
Europa League, and Reguilon because he looked quite attacking last year. I was hoping he'd come good this year, but he's still not getting the attacking returns. Simicast was in because Robertson was injured.
Yeah.
And he did all right to start with. Got a few prize rises out of him. Luke Shaw, great Euros, crap for Man United. Trent's in there, stalwart, and Sanchez was my enabler in goal. 1.5 million, I think he was. 83 points I got that week as well. So it went too bad.
Go on, James, what about yours?
Well, Man United were a massive disappointment in defensive terms. I thought they would be a bit better than they were. So any team where I went big on Man United, with the Maguires and your Wan-Bissakas, and who knew that they would just be so crap this year? Very big disappointment. Any blocks that I went with Man United, just been disastrous. Interestingly, I took the questions slightly differently, in that I looked at my worst performing team for game week 1, and it's interesting if you look at it. I've put a screenshot up there for you boys.
Yeah.
I got my worst team got 31 points in game week 1, and if you read that team out, aside from Elliot, I know,
Yeah.
of course, back then you need an enabler. If you had that team right now, you'd be like happy days, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a good
So
team.
Yeah.
Allison in goal, Alexander Arnold, Robertson, Reece James, Sterling, De Bruyne, Elliot, enabler, Bowen, Kane, Salah, Jota. And that was my worst performing team game week 1. But
Not a bad side, that is it.
it's not a bad side at all. So just goes to show, doesn't it? Takes time for players to get into form and show their true worth.
Yeah. It's true. In mine, in my worst team, being the worst team that I've got ranked now. So my lowest team on the leaderboard now. I've gone back on that one to the game week 1, and that got 97 points in the first game week. And that team had in it, wait for this, Soyuncu, Pereira, Schmeichel, and Harvey Barnes. There's 4 Leicester lads in there. And he got 97 points. It obviously went south pretty quickly for that team.
Yeah, they got a clean sheet first game of the season against Wolves.
Yeah. And my pod team, obviously the one that we cover each week on here, started the season with Dele Alli and Luke Shaw in it. So I'm probably on the back foot from the start there. But yeah, the Spurs lads were obviously because of the Conference League games, weren't they? Not the Conference League. It was a Conference League during, wasn't it? Yeah. But it's one of them. Like James, you obviously were seeing into the future with your team. Obviously, Elliot aside, that's a top side. That did you have any clowns in there? Not really. Dele Alli punt was probably the worst one.
I can't believe he hasn't started a game for Everton yet.
It's unbelievable.
Well, my mate is a Spurs fan. He reckons that if he plays a certain amount of minutes, they have to pay like 12 million or something at the end of the season. So, given the fact that when he has come on, he's been absolute crap. It's not worth bringing him on because they're going to have to fork out like a load of money to Spurs because of appearance bonuses or something.
Strange.
That's what I've heard.
Shocking. Shocking. What about our worst worst transfers or worst picks of this season? What are we reckoning there?
Got to be Ali.
Your Dele Alli's right up there. What about some of the transfers you brought in, players you brought in that you wish you hadn't over the course of the season?
Can't think off the top of my head.
I'm gonna go back to my best performing team, and I'm gonna look at game week 1 because I remember there were some shockers in there, mostly Spurs players. Davinson Sanchez, Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, Tiedeman's. Well, he's done all right, I suppose. Reguilon's done bugger all. Hugo Lloris, well, he wasn't the greatest pick, but that team was the one that was in the top 100 for most of the season. Not at the moment, unfortunately.
Lukaku's going to be up there, hasn't he? He's done that for all this season.
Yeah, that's definitely one you've reminded me of. One where I said, didn't I brought him in, didn't I, last month or something when he was playing Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
I think but just after the Club World Cup, weren't it? And he scored 2 goals in the Club World Cup.
Well, you were drunk, weren't you, or something?
Yeah, I was in the pub.
That's the only reason I can think of to bring him in.
Yeah,
I think Ronaldo has done me a couple of times as well this season.
You put him in this weekend, though, didn't you, in one of your teams?
In the Costa League, yeah. I did, yeah.
Oh, nice. Got a hat-trick out of that, then?
Yeah. Well, obviously, they like the games, don't they? I had quite a few transfers left in that team, so it's one of them just a 1 week punt. A 1 game punt, to be fair, because Liverpool are going to absolutely batter them on Wednesday.
Speaking of 1 game punts, and slightly off topic, I brought Bruno Guimaraes into my fantasy FPL free hit. I can't believe he got 2 goals.
Unbelievable.
What? And I've been dying to ask you this, Ben. What about that first goal? What do you reckon? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I don't think he fouled Casper. I thought.
Okay.
Do you know? I actually thought there was a foul in the build-up to the goal. Chris Wood leaned on Amati, and then Amati couldn't get up, and it hit Amati, and it rolled to. I think Bruno Guimaraes had a shot then, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Schmeichel didn't have his hands on the ball at any point, but I wondered if you'd try and defend it somehow. But no, you haven't given me that pleasure.
Wasn't it against Villa? He had his hand on the ball and he scored a goal against us. And
that was different because he had his hand on it, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because he had the ball. You had to have the ball on between your hand or between 2 hands, or sorry, the hand and the surface.
By the ground, hand on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
What made me chuckle a little bit the other day was when James messaged in the group, like Bruno went after he scored, and then Ben's response was "fuck off." Just the silence.
Honestly, I was so excited that it didn't even compute. Ben's in the group. He's a Leicester fan. He may not like this. Your excitement, and I got a short shrift, shall we say, from that. So I apologise. I just wasn't thinking, Ben. It wasn't a deliberate ploy to wind you up.
I only caught the end of the first half and the second half because obviously I'm at Butlins and I got into this pub there and I'm watching it. I'm thinking these are crap, Newcastle. I'm thinking we've done 8 changes from Thursday and we nearly beat them, and then they go down the other end and they score another Amati pants. I don't know what he's doing there. Just get into him, get the ball away from him, and he's come off his foot and landed at Guimaraes again, and he's just put it in the net. So
because there's nothing to play for in Premier League, he's on the beach, Amati.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing the reserves in the league now. It's just obviously they've been playing all the way through Amati and Soyuncu, but now the Evans and Fofana and Ricardo and Castagna are back. They rested them for the league game. I reckon they'll play the strong team in midweek, and then they'll rest them again at the weekend, and then play the strong team in the Europa League next week in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I expect. Next up, Ashton's back. Fergie's apprentice. Hi guys, great to be back. With only one transfer, I'm definitely holding till the end of the month. Nothing is working that I've tried to get to the top in my mini league. How would you approach next month with my team? He's got 0.6 million in the bank. His team is Sanchez, Robertson, Alexander Arnold, Cancelo, Doherty, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Diaz, Salah, Kane, Jota. Do you reckon, James?
Well, I think it's a bit early to be talking about next month at this stage. And the team looks very well set up for next month. There's one big problem with this team. It's got Doherty in it. He's out for the season. I would, if you've got one transfer left, I would move him on now because he's not going to play. You can afford. I worked out you could afford 3.5 million for a replacement, so you could stick someone like Declan Rice in there. West Ham have got a few European fixtures, not quite as many fixtures as some of the other teams, but still more than most. Kulusevski, he's only 3.1 million. He could be a reasonable replacement, even though Spurs don't have the fixture volume. If you want a defender, then Craig Dawson could be a decent option, or at 3.2, or Aaron Cresswell at 3.3. I wouldn't be touching any Leicester assets at the moment because they, like Ben was saying, that they just rotating at the moment. So it's not worth the risk. But there are some options there that you could replace Doherty with. Then wait until see, like we've said earlier in the pod, but it's worth repeating. See how those semi-finals in the Champions League are going to pan out, and then make your decision on what you're going to do next month. And next month's transfers are going to be key because you don't want to burn them all too early because you want to see how things are panning out with the second legs of the Champions League and stuff like that. So you're going to want to make sure you've got a reasonable cover for that Champions League final and maybe the FA Cup. Too early for next season, but I would get rid of Doherty now if I was you.
Yeah, definitely, James. Ben, sorry.
Yeah, I think you covered pretty much. Sorry?
Sorry, you just froze then. I thought you'd fallen asleep. You froze on the screen. He's not moving.
I'm moving now?
Yeah, you're all right now.
We can see you now.
Yeah, pretty much same options I've got. Dawson, Cresswell, Kulu. But also, like the geezer I just said about earlier, Coutinho. Got a couple of good fixtures this month. And then next month he's got 5 fixtures. So he's quite a good punter, I think. If you want something a bit different. What do you think, Tone?
Yeah, I've just got same guys. Obviously, might suffer a little bit with the rotation, but Jude Real,
he's nailed, mate. He's like the engine of the team now.
Yeah, he's playing really well. He just seems to have a bit more about him going forwards now as well. He's scored over week.
Yeah,
got a decent shot on him. So a bit more dangerous, possibly a bit more attacking as Lookman. Whether at 2.2 million. But again, you probably suffer a little bit with rotation there.
Yeah, definitely.
There's Leicester lads. I've got Dawson here as well. West Ham. He loves a goal. You're a man there, Ben. Yeah. Cresswell, what about his suspension? Is he suspended in them Europa League games now? They're a straight red, weren't it, that you got?
Yeah, he's available for the next set of games now. He's missed the second leg, and they went through. So yeah, he's available for selection now.
Happy days.
Just one final thing. Welcome back, Fergie's Apprentice. We've missed you. Nice to have you submitting questions again.
Yep, second that. But yeah, some good options there for you. You just got to get rid of Doherty. It's pointless holding on to him and holding on to that transfer. You need to use it now. He's not going to be playing this season, so you might not have another injury in your team. You're better off making that move and maximising the amount of games that you get out of your players. Get him shipped on. Next up, Chris Hermitage, 1 million in the bank, 4 moves left this month. Any advice on the moves I should make? Start of the month, I moved off Sun due to the number of fixtures, and that's proved quite painful. There's quite a few people that ship Son on this month. Julie came back and banged, but his teams: Edison, Robertson, Cancelo, Rudiger, Van Dijk, Sterling, Silva, Diaz, De Bruyne, Kane and Salah up top. What do you reckon, Ben?
Oh, that's so unlucky at the Sun move. I feel your pain, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, it's one of them, innit? It's like, do you want to waste transfers? I can only see like sideways moves. Well, not sideways, but from the same clubs. So like Van Dijk to Trent, or Rudiger to James, something like that. You've got a good team there, mate. Obviously, I just keep monitoring De Bruyne, see if he's injured or not. Maybe it was just put him on the bench just to scare Liverpool. I don't know. I didn't bring him on though, so yeah, can't really see anything. See anything that you want to do there? What do you guys think?
I reckon, James.
It's a good team. No obvious holes. I would be tempted to switch to go 3 up top though, because you've got more a higher ceiling, if you like, of points potential.
Werner for Silva, mate.
No, he's got enough money to move Rudiger to Jota or Mane.
Yeah.
So I would be tempted to go 3 up top. You don't have to do it this week, but I'd probably do it next week before Chelsea's single game week. Look at the fixtures, see what you think. Could go this week, could go next. He's got Bernardo Silva. His points have dropped away a bit, but he's still chipping in. And for his price, he's still decent. So I would just make that one move, Rudiger to either Jota or Mane, and keep an eye on the team sheets and pick the one that starts, because they'll get. I think they're going to get equivalent points. I mean, Mane might be the better option now. If you'd asked me last week, I would have said Jota without hesitation. But now I'm sort of wavering a bit. And then save the rest of those transfers for the end of the month. Use them on that Thursday before the end of the month to set you up nicely for the following month. That's what I would do.
Yeah. That'd be tempted me to move Kane on to one of the Liverpool lads, just to maximise the amount of games this month. This weekend, I know they've got Brentford, haven't they, this weekend. It could be something that comes back and bites you on our side. Well, and then probably bring Kane back in for May. Bring him back in at the end. Obviously, having 4 transfers, he's got the ability to be able to spunk 2 on, maximising the fixture. Kane out to either Jota or Mane. Like I say, Mane played through the middle, didn't he? Weekend.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Totally depends on your plan. Like if you're playing in the mini league and you're top of the mini league, it's hard to move off a Kane. But if you're chasing it, it's easy to do it.
Yeah, because you've got to go different. You've got to maximise them games.
Yeah.
Or like James says, which is a good shout about moving Rudiger, because having one Chelsea asset there, it's not really going to make or break your season. So putting 3 up top, straight swap Rudiger to Mane, it'd be a nice move, and keep Kane in. You don't have to take that risk then. Obviously, it depends where you are, what you fancy doing, and how ballsy you can be. But
you could do Rudiger to Mane, Kane to Trent. Something like that.
Yeah, triple up on the Liverpool backline. Just to touch on that, I did have a look at the estimated ownership as well for the backlines. Just an updated one. The Liverpool defence in the top 1K, the estimated ownership is 2.44. So 3 Liverpool assets now would probably move you up a little bit. I think it's gone down a bit, that answer, since last time we did. I think you were over 3, weren't it, at one point?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I'm surprised it's that low. I've now gone the other way and jumped all on Liverpool, and it's not worked so far. But I'm going to hold, obviously, now. Fixture volume. They're in the FA Cup final. Hopefully get through in the Champions League. So it's looking like a long-term pick.
Yeah, definitely. Chelsea defence, top 1K estimated ownership is 0.72. And the Man City defence, top 1K estimated ownership is 1.35. So, the Liverpool attack, the top 1K estimated ownership is 1.77. So you've got to have two Liverpool strikers to be doing much, which is usually Salah and another, isn't it? Then the Man City midfield, top 1K estimated ownership is 2.14. So everyone's really got two City assets. Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Don't want me figures to go to waste. Need to find a way to get them in somewhere. Right, Carl has been on what to do with Kane. Less fixtures, but not score. Less fixtures and he's not scoring, but guaranteed. Take him out, he's getting a hat trick. Go on, James. I think we have just touched on it, but
yeah. Well, Kane. I looked, and Kane's had one blank in the last 7 games. He's involved in pretty much every goal they score. They are the top scorers this year, this calendar year. So, I don't know. I think, like Ben was saying earlier, if you're chasing, you can take him out. If you're at the top, and because of he's still got high ownership, keep him there.
Yeah. You've already said it, haven't you? I think I've already had about 10 pence worth there, 10 pence in there as well. So I call it. Like you say, it's at your peril, isn't it? He's someone who he's just always involved, isn't he? He's always involved. Got a lack of fixtures, but he can do damage in those fixtures. Right, that's a wrap for the questions. Sorry, one more question. Nearly missed it. Mac has been on Twitter. He sent his team in, Ruben up the arse. He's got 2 transfers left, 1 million in the bank. His team is Jose Sarr, Trent, Cancelo, James, De Bruyne, Sterling, Bowen, Kulusevski, Harry Kane, Diogo Jota, and Cristiano Ronaldo. What do you reckon, Ben?
It's a good team. I hope he's had Ronaldo in for the other hat trick as well. That would have shot him right up, 56 points. He ain't got Salah, so he's he who dares wins there.
It seems like it.
The old Del Boy trick. Yeah, well, look at that. He looks all right to me. Obviously, Jose Sarr's there. He's only got a couple of fixtures, but they're all right for the rest of the month. He's got Burnley and Brighton. He could maybe go to Mendy. I think he's about 3.8. He's got 4 fixtures this month and then 5 next month. And then Ronaldo, who's got double game week this week, next week, single against Brentford. And then from then he's got Brighton and then only 2 games in May. So maybe jump off in May. Maybe jump off after the Chelsea game, I don't know, to Mane or Jota, depending on who starts. Even Havertz. Yeah. What do you think, James?
I agree. Moving off Ronaldo before May with one of those transfers, probably to Salah.
I didn't even think of Salah. I didn't even say Salah.
I think you just expect Salah to be in the team,
just expecting to be there. 10-man game.
The fact that Man United have only got 2 fixtures in May says it all. I mean, that's nothing, is it? You've got to, despite the fact he's done quite well for you, and fair play for putting him in. 2 fixtures in May means he's got to go, but you can wait till the end of the month to do that.
Yeah.
Rest of the side's decent. Not much you can do about Jose Sarr, I suppose, because of his price, but
he's quite pricey, Jose Sarr. I think he's like 3.6 to double check.
He had a really good run of clean sheets, didn't they, Wolves, and all their assets shot right up, and they haven't dropped that much since then.
Yeah. He's only 2.2 off of Mendy, 3.6. Star man magnet, isn't he, Jose Sarr?
Yeah.
I probably would switch him out if I could. to somebody with more fixture volume, but it's not always the priority, the keeper. If keep an eye on Spurs, see how Kulusevski gets on. You could switch him to Diaz if to set yourself up for the final run-in. Obviously, Liverpool got more fixtures, but that's only if you've got no other priority moves. I do think Kulusevski is still a good option, but if you want to play the fixture volume, then Diaz could be a good replacement. He's only 3.3, surprisingly low cost, really, considering he's been doing pretty well recently.
Yeah. I think you could. I know last week I said about I'll never tell you to take Harry Kane out of your team, but here, obviously, with the fixtures, only having 2 fixtures to other teams 4 for the rest of this month, I'd probably that team take Kane out and put Salah in. I think you need Salah.
Yeah.
You've got to have Salah in your team.
Good point.
And then at the end of the month, take Ronaldo out and put Harry Kane back in. For May, that's what I'd probably do. Like I say, the rest of it looks all right. Jose Sarr, obviously, Wolves lacking in fixtures, but the next 2 fixtures are Burnley and Brighton. Some possibility of a couple of clean sheets there. So, yeah, that's what I'd do, Mac. Hope that helps, mate. Right, now that is it for the questions. Now on to the leagues. We'll have a run through with the Dream Team Tonic Cash League and the Patreon League as well. So, the Cash League. James, is this your job this week?
Yeah, it looks like I'm reading it again. I dropped out 19th. I am now in this league.
Oh.
I'm dropping like a stone the last 2 weeks. I was in the mix, but I am no longer in that mix, which is rather annoying. But still ways to go.
Yeah.
In 10th, we have the former Dream Team champion Andrew Ferguson. In 9th, Alex Cole. 8th, Ben Lee.
Get in.
Hey.
Come on.
In 7th, Anthony Sutcliffe.
Hey, here I am.
Hang on a second. In 6th, we've got Ben Lee.
Come on. 2 teams in the top 10. You're in a Ben Lee sandwich, Anthony.
I am, aren't I?
In 5th, Heath Robson. In 4th, Kerry Jones. In 3rd, Dan Sherwood. 2nd, Steve Legg. And at the top, Alex Cole.
Alex Cole with 2 teams in there as well.
Yeah. Flying at the top. Is that 50-point lead?
50 point cushion, yeah. It's all bunching up under the challenge for the places. So we're 50% through this week anyway. We've still got another round of games to go, so that could all change by the next time we're on the pod. You could be back in by the next time pod's coming on, James. So let's see. Over to the DT Tonic Patreon League, where I'll be reading this one out, which I've been doing every single week since it started. Here we go. In 10th, we've got Sam Course. In joint 8th, we've got James Fricker.
I'm surprised I'm still in there with -2 points. But anyway, sorry.
Paul Young, they're in joint 8th with you. In 7th, my opponent in the the DT Tonic Cup, Stephen Broughton. In 6th, Andrew Barnett. In 5th, Connor Tobin. In 4th, David Moyes' shriveled ball bag. In 3rd, with David Dunkley, sorry. In 3rd, Michael White. In 2nd, Paul McNally. And now a clear leader this week. In top, Ben Lee.
Come on. Get in.
He's everywhere.
He's there. He's there. He's every fucking way.
He's going for it. He wants that T-shirt.
I do.
So yeah, that's the Patreon league covered. Obviously, if you're not a member of the Patreon and you want some more Dream Team Tonic content, get yourself across to patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. Get involved. What's going on in there? The great little community. Cheaper than a Costa coffee per month. So it's well worth it. I'm sure the guys and the members will agree. Yeah, it'd be great to have you involved. That's it, lads. We've got through it. My hangover hasn't held me back too much. Obviously, got through a pod for the first time without having a beer. A sobering experience.
I wonder why his hands were shaking.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll be back to drinking next week. But it's a pleasure to spend that evening with you both. Cheers for that.
Cheers, Tony.
Wish you both well rest of the game week. Let's see how it goes. So cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.